Fortnight chat here at Axon Property Group. As you can see, I'm joined with some absolute superstars here with me tonight. We've got Simo, we've got Nat, and we've also got Angie, our relationships manager. So yeah, welcome everybody. I know that we planned this for a couple of weeks now, and here we all are together.
So good. Hey, friends.
How are you, Nat? How well tonight, buddy?
It's good to be on. It's been a while since I've jumped on one of these.
Yes, mate. I'm sure that everyone who loves your story about you being in the military and Sabi and everything, so would love to see you. There was actually a young gentleman out there that I saw today who would have loved to meet you, but I know that we had some schedule clashes for you to go out there and see Greg. His amazing son wanted to sort of meet you, but I'm like, I'll do everything I can to try and drag Dave out there, but it didn't quite work, mate. So here we are.
Maybe next time.
Let us know where you're dialing in from, ladies and gents. I'd love to be able to have a chat with you. So the reason why we've got Dave's our property specialist manager, Nat's our build support manager, Angie is our build support is our relationships manager. I just work here. I do everything else. Noah's our marketing manager, and Tamara, of course, is our general manager. They're not really client facing, so I thought we'd just get the crew on tonight to basically engage with the whole Axonite family, I suppose, and say g'day and let you know what's going on in the industry. Who we got? AD Evans is greeting us again from sunny PNG. Noah's in from the Gold Coast. Benny Hinton, Kent Herman's in the plate, mate. Kent, you're slipping, mate. You're about number 5 there, buddy. Sophie Grove's in the house. Chrissy Phyllis's mate. Yes, you did see me earlier, my man. I was out there today having a bit of a cruise around, and what do I see? I saw a infidel shirt and a bloody cam hat on, Simo. You would have loved it with a big beard. I'm like, I bet that's bloody Chris Phillips taking his dog for a walk, and said, sure enough, it was. So fantastic. Matty Riley's coming in from WA. Tamara's coming in from the Gold Coast. Gordon Spooner's in the house as well. Oh, wow, we've got a bunch of people coming in. Angie, I know you're really big on this. You love the fact that there are some new faces and some new vibe and some new Axon culture in the office, mate. And you've been in the real estate sector for 15 years, longer than all of us. Mm-hmm. And you've been here for the better part of 9 months now. Yeah. I'd love for you to sort of pass on, mate. How are you feeling in the office at the moment? And, what's it like coming into Axon HQ to come and live our best life?
Oh, yeah, so good. Like you even mentioned the other day, you're like, it's not a job, it's a lifestyle.
It is.
Last night, actually, we were on a end of build coaching call with some clients, and we were just cracking up so much that when I walked out of the office, Luke's like, was that work? Like, what are you doing? The vibe's really good, loving it.
I'm going to tell that story soon, actually. That is a fucking cracking story. Just to give people an insight into the very casual, very easygoing, yet very sincere and obviously caring in a relationship we have with our clients along the way there. Because I can see a few people there that haven't sort of got to that point. So, Ange, like I said, you've worked in other spaces in the real estate sector for the last 15 years, mate. Like, yeah, what are you thinking and feeling about when you're driving from your beautiful house down there in Palm Beach here on the Goldie? What do you got, a 35, 40-minute drive to work each way?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you pumped when you get there? Are you looking forward to sort of bursting in through the doors and just running amok?
Yeah, it really feels like I'm coming to work to hang out with my friends. It's so good. Mm-hmm. It's one of the reasons actually why I joined the Axon crew. Back when I was working in the corporate real estate side of things, the Axon team and the clients were by far my favorite clients to work with. And even just the relationships and friendships that I've got. Not just only the team in Axon, but even people like Auntie Deb, mortgage broker. She's become a really, really close friend of mine, and it's been amazing to have those relationships.
Jace Cosgrove as well. He's our financial planner, and here's another little fun fact for you, ladies and gents. Jace owns a business on the side, separate to his financial planning and accountant. It's called P3 Recovery down here on the Gold Coast, and he's got the hot and cold pools. And many of you would have seen recently that Tamara and I took the whole team out on a sort of morale and team building activity, and we went and watched Top Gun for the day. Yeah, that was freaking awesome. Guess what our next little adventure is going to be? Hot pool, cold pool. I think my wife Tamara, she's like, I'm not fucking getting in the cold one. You can jam that. I'll happily hop in the hot one. So, and I mean, Angie, your first response was, can we have like a month just to cut down on our diet a little bit before we go do that?
I'm wearing a wetsuit, Robbie. I'm not getting into it. That's for sure.
Oh, I love that.
Wear the 6 mil wetty.
Yeah.
Don't even get wet.
James and Caitlin's in the house. Dwayne Turvey. Dwayne, I've obviously got your message, brother. I'm looking forward to speaking to you guys soon. Shania's in the house. Greggy Hackett, brother. I'm going to bring you into the conversation soon, mate. I loved seeing you out there today in your brand new investment property that you built with us. I called the owner of the building firm today. I passed on your feedback. He's happy that you're happy, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd love to sort of ask you a couple of questions, and you can use the chat box to get your sausage fingers, as you called them today, as you were trying to bloody dial your wife in. Mickey Gallen is in the house. Jen Gale is in the house. Christina Pearl. Bron Bretz is saying hello. Haven't we reached an amazing milestone of Bron's property finally, Nat?
Yes. Yay! Oh my gosh, I had a great chat with Bron this afternoon. Actually, a couple of chats with Bron the last couple of weeks, but especially today. I'm super excited that we get to hand over their beautiful house tomorrow. So pumped, and the awesome property managers have shuffled a few things around for the open home. So don't know if you know yet, Bron, but your house will be open for inspection on Saturday. So they've shuffled a few things around just to make sure you don't miss out on this weekend's open home.
Oh, good.
So I'm super excited to see all the awesome applications that have come through, because your house took us a while to get there, but the end result is absolutely beautiful. So
now, just remind me quickly, how much have we got it up for rent, please?
That one was $550.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. All right. We'll see.
$100 more than what we predicted at the very start of the process.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. Fantastic. Yeah. CJ wins in the house. Angie, thanks for the solar panel feedback. Greg, awesome. Thanks, RT. We're just absolutely stoked with the finished product of our brand new house that will change our lives. I don't know if those little kisses are from you, mate. Jesus Christ. I hope that's your lovely wife, Brooke, sitting next to you that wrote that. But anyway, you'll take them whenever we can get them. And, of course, Bron saying thanks so much, etc. Dave, what about you, mate? I know that what have we submitted? 6 or 7 EOIs in the last 10 days or so. I guess we're just starting to see that land availability loosen up a little bit, with the sort of the strict stuff that was going on recently. What's happening in your world, buddy?
Yeah, 6 EOIs in the last 4 or 5 days, and 13 for this month. We just ticked over. We might even have another one by tomorrow, so 14.
So good.
It's an interesting time, and I started to notice about 4 weeks ago that the availability of land was a little bit easier, in the sense that we didn't have to work quite as hard on the retail side trying to go through the front door that way. It's much better when it is coming through the wholesale channels, when we get those off-market opportunities to get the properties. And I am, just in the last 4 weeks, we've talked about this a couple of times, in the last 4 weeks, started to see it free up a little bit, which is meaning that our amazing builders there are actually getting a little bit of access.
Yeah.
Makes it a little bit easier for us, makes it a lot easier for our Axon family and clients there as well. And I think it's just a bit of a sign. I've seen a couple of other little things in the developments with their releases as well, just some slight extensions to the amount of time they're allowing the EOI process. So it's just sort of in my mind that things are starting to free up a little bit.
Good.
And when I say that, I don't sort of think that things are going to slow down in terms of prices and capital growth and rental increases. I think that's going to continue for quite some time yet, because we've still got international borders to fully open up and have those people immigrating to Australia as well. Yep. And I think we've got a long way to go, but just the land availability is just getting that a little bit easier.
Yeah. I mean, when we've got some developments where there is 30, 40, 50 blocks being released to the public, and there's hundreds of people vying to put an EOI in, if we can get a couple of blocks that come in through our wholesale channel, Dave, as you say, where everyone can jump the line and go straight to the front of the queue and get given a block, how fucking valuable is that, mate? Like, it's just phenomenal. And I'm really, really glad we've got, I think the majority of those 13 EOIs that we've had in this month have come in through that way. And just the gratitude and the thankfulness and the happiness, quite frankly, of those clients that are like, thank you, Axon team. It's a good feeling to be a part of, really, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, exactly. One of our estates they had 30 lots released the other day, and they had over 400 people still applying for just those 30 lots. So the demand is still there. It's just getting a tiny little bit more permissive on that whole subject.
And that's an important thing to keep in mind as well, ladies and gents, is that when you hear the media talking about the property market's going to go down by X amount of percent, just remember there's not one property market. There's lots of little micro markets. You know, I spoke to some amazing clients. Angie, you and I did, me, you and Luke, me, you and the rest of the crew. We spoke to some clients over in Perth last night, and they're obviously living out. So it takes 3 years to build a house in Perth.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And the market is very tight over there from a rental perspective. But and thankfully the Perth market's not going down anymore because it's come down a fucking long way, right? And it's got a long way to go back up to where it was even 5 or 6 years ago. So, you know, just because the Perth market's rising a little bit now, I'm not going to go over and go and invest in an area which is very susceptible to the resource and mining sector. Yeah. But when I said to them, I said, look, but you guys are over in Perth right now. You're sort of thinking about buying and building another house. Let me give you some indications about what's happening over here in the East Coast where your first investment property is, and we'll show you that. And they were very relieved, weren't they, Ange, where they didn't have to go through a 3-year build process. Yeah. It was only going to be, like, it's a lot shorter over here than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Imagine that. 3 years. That's incredible.
3 years.
I want to just touch on something quickly, and that you'll appreciate this because you come from a banking sector anyway. And I see that the wonderful superstar, the lady herself, Deb, is in the house. Deb, I know you're extremely busy. And it's almost like, sorry, not sorry. Sorry that you're so busy, but that's all the client, the work that we give to you, which I know you're very appreciative of. And I know you can't talk right now, Deb, but please feel free to use the keyboard. In this time where interest rates are starting to rise a little bit, we've got clients that are partway through the build with their construction loan, and they're asking to try and fix the rate right now. Mm-hmm. And of course, you know, Deb, would you mind just sort of writing a couple of sentences there about what's the feasibility of a client who wants to try and fix the rate whilst they're under a construction loan, you know, circumstance? So I know what the answer is, but I love, Deb, if you can just sort of give everyone a quick little insight there. While she's doing that, Nat, I speak about, don't I, Ange, on the end of build coaching sessions, I don't speak about how hard you work and you and the rest of the build support team. I speak about the level of care and your riding of the bumps up and down. And like you ride the wave of every single client that comes in. You love the fact that we find tenants in a matter of days, not a matter of weeks. Mm-hmm. You hate the fact that there's an extension of time that comes in and you've got to be the one to deliver the bad news. You love it when there's a frame, and then a slab claim, and then a frame claim a few weeks later because the builders have been super smart with the way they're building houses. Give us everyone a bit of an insight into what happens in your world, mate.
Yeah, look, it's definitely what I've been with Axon just over 2 years now. And definitely when I started was literally like the first day of lockdown in Queensland was my first day with Axon. So my first 6 weeks was working remotely from home. So I've definitely ridden the COVID wave of what a 6-month build used to look like compared to what a 9 to 12-month build now looks like. And yeah, look, we definitely do, like it's a 12-month journey for us. So you become very close, especially towards the back end, you know, because that communication I was saying about Bron, like I spoke to her twice today. Yeah. You can't have that level of communication with people without getting emotionally invested. And, you know, as an investor myself, I know what it's like to be paying, you know, for a mortgage and drawdown process claims. And I totally understand what it's like. Yeah. So, no, we take it totally personal. And, you know, when we do get these EOTs that come through, it's a massive sigh. You're just like, oh, God, here we go again. But, you know, as I say, I try to be the middleman because we've got that relationship with the builders. And I do see how much they're hurting and how much they're trying to keep the builds progressing because ultimately they want to get paid. And, you know, there's not a lot of profit left in these last few builds that we've got coming through at the moment, if any. So it's hurting on both sides. So it's trying to stay on the client side, checking all the extensions that do come in to make sure that they are like true and correct. Good. But then also having that, you know, communication back to the owners and saying, hey, I get it. Another 30 working days. It's horrible, but your house is still being built. It's still going to be progressed. And a lot of the extensions that we do actually hold that we have gotten, they're still finishing well within time, you know. Like the Bretzes, we've had quite a lot of delays with them, but we still actually had until about the 7th of July to finish the build.
Right.
You add up all the days. So even though the builders are sending us through a lot of delays, they're still finishing within time to the best of their ability. So look, it gets emotional. We hate delivering not great news, but I took the girls up on site yesterday.
Yeah.
And showed them around. 2 years on, I know my way around now. That's actually quite funny. I'm like, I just know where to go.
Yes.
I remember
It's so good.
when Robbie used to drive, I'd be like, Bobby Dad's in the car going, I don't know where he's going. I don't know what estate we're in. It all kind of looks the same. But yeah, it was nice yesterday to actually, be the driver, the chauffeur for the day and really know where I'm going, because I just had such a long time now in the process of knowing where everything is and seeing everything come to life as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw a beautiful house go. The pre-slab was laid yesterday. And just the excitement. I was just like, I can't wait to text the owners. I'm like, oh my God.
There's finally something happening.
Yeah, there's something happening. Or, like when we do go out and site, it's a great feeling when, I was going to say get home, get back to the office, check the photos compared to what it was like a month ago and go, awesome, there actually has been progress. And that's the best feeling, because you just know that things are progressing, and then we can get tenants and make money, which is why we're doing it in the first place, is to build that equity. Yeah. So yeah, it's emotional for us.
A bunch. Go for it, please, Ange.
I was just about to say, even though it's been, an emotional roller coaster and you've got so much care, I love how much you and the team celebrate the wins as well. There's high-fiving going in the office when there's something, going right for a client, or using the gong. Yeah. I accidentally called it dong once, and I'll never do that again.
Similar but different.
Yeah. So being able to celebrate and be so happy for the clients as well. Even though there's been a lot of things that the clients have experienced, there's been a lot of highs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was literally talking to Greg today in his office, and I said, look, mate, I know that you've had the better part of about 100 days of construction delays. I said, now your house is finished and you're walking through it, and I know you have no emotional connection to it, even though you love the item that you bought. It's just a pure money-making machine for him. I said, and I know it was frustrating, and I know it's not nice to be living through those 100-odd days worth of kicking the can down the road. Now that it's over, and now you can see that you've got $630 a week rent, not $470 a week rent, and you've made $150,000, $200,000 of equity that you can now realise in this house that you finished being built. When you reflect upon those dark days, when you're in getting all the emails from Natalie and Angie's team, how does it make you feel? He's like, I don't really care about it anymore. Yes, it was shit at the time, but now that I'm at the end and now that I can see the finished product, it's absolutely worth it. And I apologise, Hags, I'm putting words in your mouth, but this is pretty much what we spoke about. That he goes, and I said to him, let's just do a quick little piece of the camera, and we did, and you guys will see that soon in the next few weeks, I suppose, once we edit out all my shitty stuff ups. It is so worth it at the end, whilst it's not a very nice thing to go through. So just please keep that in mind. It's one of those things. I know it's a longer term game that we're playing here, but it absolutely is worth it. So that was nice to see.
Yeah, Robbie.
Go for it.
Further to that as well, people, when they get to those end of the build and the construction of the property, they have that relief at that point in time as well. But when you think about how long you're actually going to hold that investment property for, my intent is to buy and hold for as long as it can go. The average in Australia is about 12 years. So within 1, 2, 3, 5 years, you're not even going to think about those EOTs at that point in time. The increase in the rents and what it's going to, the wealth that it's creating for your family, basically.
Yeah, love it. Just whilst we've still got Deb on the line, she's actually gone ahead and very gratefully answered my question. She says, as it's under construction, we cannot fix the loan until completion. So it's really important, team, that if you are seeing the interest rates rise, so all construction loans are under variable. And if that means the RBA, the Reserve Bank of Australia, and therefore the banks put up the interest rates a little bit, you're going to pay a little bit more extra on your loan. That's just the rules of the road when you're building a house. Certainly, as Deb also puts on there straight away, always happy to review the loan on build completion for all clients. So just stick through what's going on until you get to the end, and then you've actually got a house and the bank just views the loan, the structures differently. You can do a split and a fix. You can do principal and interest. You can do a whole combo of things. Certainly come to us in the first instance as your coach and strategist, and we can do that in the build coaching session and put a couple of options on your property wealth action plan for Deb to then go and explore for you. But just rest assured that you're not stuck with paying extra interest for the whole time. We can be a little bit sort of funky towards the end of the build there. Ange, I use this little term, don't I? So when we're doing all these end of build coaching sessions, I said, look, I've got a wonderful lady joining us right now. Her name's Anne. She's going to be your relationship manager. And the value you're now going to get of her looking after your property for the life of a type, and Ange, I'll ask you to expand on that in a second. That was when you signed your success package. That was in the year BA. And what's that stand for, Ange?
Before Angie.
Before Ange. I said we didn't have a relationships manager. We didn't have a mechanism in place whereby we can do all the things that Ange is about to explain to you now. So, Ange, for those people that are in the build right now that haven't had a chat with you, we can give them something to look forward to. For those that are listening in right now that haven't even started their process with Axon, this is going to be a huge bit of value boost for you that you probably don't even expect from a firm like ours. So go ahead, Angie, give us a little spiel, mate, about what the amazing support and service you're providing to our clients as our relationship manager, please.
Yeah, awesome, Artie. So I work really closely with the build support team. So clients often, are dealing with the build support team throughout the whole construction. But then it's, well, what happens after and when the property has already handed over and tenanted, or when the clients are living in the property. So we basically want all our clients to know that we are here for the life of their property. So it's that ongoing support. The team automatically arrange for independent inspection, the 12-month warranty inspection to occur at that time. So that's an amazing step where we send an independent building inspector out, and they check the property and make sure everything's sort of up to scratch after that 12 months. And then I'm here to assist with so many things. So I've got the relationships with our referral partners. So the agents, insurance brokers, the builders. So anything to do with even maintenance down the track or up-to-date build costs. That's something that we've been talking a lot about lately, RT. So basically, because properties are going up so much at the moment, it is so important that our clients are constantly looking at what they're insured for, to make sure that, if anything was to happen down the track to their property, that they do have that inadequate insurance.
Can I just butt in? So we've actually crunched the numbers for you, team. So if you have built a house with us and it's finished being built, or you, I don't know, signed an EOI probably 9 or 10 months or so ago, before the price rise really started to kick in, the price per square meter was about $1,200 or $1,300 a square meter. Now it's about $2,000 a square meter. That's how much it's gone up. So, of course, what Angie's talking about there is that if your house is insured for $290,000 and it now costs $360,000 to build that house, you are underinsured if there is a catastrophic event that occurs and your house has to be knocked down or burns down or whatever. You're like, sweet, no worries. I'm already insured. Go fucking build me a new house. They'll be like, you're 90 grand short. So just get your renewal done. Speak to Ange. This is for people straight away that you don't have to wait until your end of build coaching session. Contact Nat and your team, and you'll put you in touch with Jason and the team at Insurance Web to make sure that they can get another quote done on what the revised build contract is going to be.
Definitely.
Please don't place yourself in a circumstance, ladies and gents, where you're like, it'll be right. I'll just do it after I speak to my coach. Murphy's Law will say something will happen and there'll be a 2-week gap where you're underinsured and something will occur. Simo, do you remember all the stories back in the day? There's like diggers that'll come back from Timor, the first ever trip like since the Vietnam War, really. And they'll come back with 90 grand in the bank, go down and buy a HSV ute under hire purchase finance, want to drive it out the bloody driveway straight away and put insurance on the car later that afternoon and fucking write the ute off, and they've lost 60 grand. There's
I've heard of that a couple of times. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And when you're considering the amount that your insurance is going to cost for what you're actually insuring, your $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 property, for the insurance that you're paying, it's peanuts for that peace of mind.
Yeah,
correct.
Even during the build phase, like nowadays when we do the insurances at the end of the build, we go back to the property specialist and just say, hey, Dave, what will it cost to build this specific design home in today's market? Just to make sure we're insuring it for the correct amount in today's market, not what you paid for it. In general rule, we're insuring them for at least $50,000 to $100,000 more than what they paid for it. It's a really good exercise just to come back to us, and we can always check with the builder to double check. So no Insurance Web, as amazing as they are, sometimes they can't give you those correct calculations. So definitely reach out to us because we can find out for you pretty easily.
We're literally seeing brand new brochures that come in from builders 3, 4, 5 times, a day sometimes. So we can give you the absolute cost there. Let's just take a break for a sec. So CJ Wynn's talking about chatting with builders around here and seeing the crews working, and they're desperately trying to keep up. You really feel for them, mate. That's a really great perspective. Greg Haggett's come back and said it's so worth the wait, guys. Don't sweat the small stuff. When it's done, it will blow you away. I can't wait to see. Mate, can I just say in a public forum, buddy, this, I've said it to you privately and I said it today on a piece to camera. And I say this with a bit of tongue in cheek. I say this with a little bit of caution, actually, but, fuck it. This is my show and this is how it works. Sometimes when people come to us and they've got a little bit of experience about being a property manager or a little bit of experience about working in the construction industry, they know boats and they can be a pain in the ass to work with. That's not all the time, Greg, as evidenced by you and many others. But if you're feeling a bit nervous and I'm talking about you, that's for you and your mirror to talk, to work on. But to your credit, mate, you are a engineer whilst you're in the army, and you worked in that sort of building construction project management space since then, and you have been not in the way, and you've been understanding, and you've been accommodating, and you've been totally awesome to work with, even though you could have injected yourself in and thought that you knew better. So, mate, it's a real testament to your character there that you're able to do that. And Nat, yourself, and the other build support team that had the opportunity of working with Greg and Brooke to build their house, all said just amazing things about them. So boats, mate. You do. You know a lot about the construction industry, but it wasn't your place to start, getting involved in the build, per se. So well done to you, mate, as far as that goes. Deb's also saying noting all construction loans are interest-only repayments as well. Absolutely. Shawnee Spain, brother, good to see you. We need to catch up soon. I want you to come and join us on our podcast. Here's another awesome guy. So if you've got your own property here on the Gold Coast for a prestige perspective and you need it to be, sold, reach out to Sean. He's a really good mate of mine. I'll put him through Kapuka as a bloody brand new recruit back in 1999. A couple of stories there that he's got of me. Maybe we'll share those on a podcast. Building materials have doubled, in some cases have tripled, depending on luxury fittings. You're absolutely right, mate. Mm-hmm. Benny Hinton, sounds like putting it all on black, gambling and no insurance. It's not the case, mate. Not going to happen for sure. What else to talk? I've got a couple of other things I wanted to just sort of pass on here. When I was out today, so obviously we went and saw Greg today at his amazing property. Got a defence tenant that's going to move into it straight away, only 1 or 2 days after the house was handed over, which is fantastic. But before we went there, I went and did a bit of a drive around some of the properties in the Western Growth Corridor of Brisbane. It's no secret that that's part of. There's many suburbs out there. Some are good, some are shit, quite frankly. So obviously we only go to the really, really good ones. And I went past one of the properties, and coincidentally, this was Mark and Jack, by the way, Nat. They were out. So I drove down. I'm like, "Oi, how you going?" And sort of said g'day to them. I'm actually going to put this, mate. Our success story that I write, every single one of them, I write myself on a Friday. You'll see this success story of a 19-year-old bloke who used all of his ADF housing entitlements and the home builder grant, and he's now living in his own home, and he's 20 years old. Yeah. Phenomenal story. Wow. Lovely fella. Yeah. It's there's another house being built next door by another defence member. Not through us, and a builder that we don't use either. It's like, "Hey, mate, come and talk to me." They just talk to me about an adjoining wall and everything, a bit of landscaping stuff. And I walked around the back, the house is pretty much finished. I'm like, "Where's all the landscaping?" And how come it's not done properly? He goes, "Oh no, he's just going to do that for himself afterwards." I'm like, "What do you mean he's going to do that for himself?" He goes, "Oh, he goes, I know. He doesn't know how he's going to sort of get that in." So he hasn't got a full turnkey package. He's got to pay cash for all the landscaping. He's got to organise, if builders are finding it hard to get landscapers to come and do work for them, which they've had years and years of contract work with, how the fuck is one dude who's a punter trying to get a landscaper around to come and do one house for him, and he's going to have to pay cash for it because he didn't roll into the finance? I'm like, it's just such a salient reminder. He probably saw that house and went, "I'm getting a 20 grand fucking cheaper deal here. How good's this?" But it's not full turnkey. So I don't know how long this guy is going to live in his own home and enjoy having dirt out the front and the back. I don't know how long that's going to be. So it's just a really poor mindset. As all of you are sitting there, yeah, this is the first time you've heard me say this, right? All of you are sitting there going, "What an idiot!" It's just it's a game, isn't it, Simo? We've seen it many, many times over the years. People think they're getting a cheaper deal, but it's not a full turnkey package.
Yeah. Can I just add, and Fran's just added there as well. So yesterday up on the sunny coast, we drove past a beautiful big 2-story home with a removalist truck out the front with no driveway.
Oh.
No driveway, no landscaping, no nothing. So this poor family are probably moving into their home, already been delayed by God knows how long, gotten desperate, probably couldn't find a landscaper or a driveway or a concrete to the driveway. And they were literally moving into their brand new home, not completed. And as I said to the girls yesterday, it's just one of those things where you think you can save some money, but when you don't have the resources and the builders that have got the contacts to get these things done, like, yeah, you're 100% right. You might be delayed by a little bit of time. Yes, screens, curtains, blinds, you miss out on all this stuff, but you're just one man. You've got no pull and no priority showing up to a landscaper and being like, hey, here's my one job. Our builders have got hundreds and they've got these contracts. They've got the priority to get the work done. And if they're already delayed, I can't imagine the stress. A letterbox. You're right. 100% a letterbox.
It's true though.
It was actually really sad because the home was beautiful. It was big 2-story, like a Hampton style house, and there's just a removalist truck on gravel. You know.
Yeah. So, right.
Yeah. It's not great.
Very, very sad indeed. What else was I going to pass? Now, whilst I've still got you, it's a very hot topic at the moment as well. Liquidated damages or LDs, whereby actually I'll get you to explain that in a second. And there's another term, of course, which is called EOTs, and we've already bandied around that term already. For those that don't know what that means, it's written in the contract. It's a little box you have to tick to say you understand what it means. EOTs, which is called extensions of time. Nat, can you just give everyone a rundown of what the difference is between the two, and also what compensation may or may not be coming your way, depending on what delay falls into what category, please?
Yeah, sure. So really, I'll start with EOTs. That's an extension of time. So that's when the builder can foresee there's going to be a delay. So whether it's going to be with materials or with trades, and a lot of the builders do send through a notice of delay and let us like, hey, just a heads up. We can foresee there's going to be a delay with frames. We're forecasting it's going to be about a 3-week delay. Once that delay has actually been experienced and they know the full extent of the delay, that's when they actually send the extension. So some of the builders do send the notices. They're not legally required to do it. So the ones that do it are amazing, and we love that because it obviously can help us kind of forecast exactly where we're up to. But they don't have to. So once they send that extension, it really just gives us a time frame of days added to the contract date. So say your contract day is 200 days, they send you through an extension of time for 30 days, your build contract ends up being 230 days. So with time frames and everything, they are supposed to let us know within 10 days of that delay being experienced. But also we have to work with them as well because, there might be weekends or there's, certain things that happen with, things do get blown out by a couple of days, but generally we get them spot on that day or the day after. So then we send it off to the client. Legally, then they are supposed to send them back to us signed just to say that they do recognize that there was a delay. Now, liquidated damages, a little bit different. So that's when it's within the builder's control. So a liquidated damage will only be granted or only eligible if the builder is actually at fault. So we have had it happen a couple of times when the builder does actually say, you know what, poor forecasting, or we had someone resign or whatever, and they actually do put their hand up and say, you know what, there was a delay. We do recognise that, there was a delay due to our fault, and that's when liquidated damages will be sent out. I really want to make it pretty clear though, just so everyone's kind of on the same page. Don't have it in your mind that anything's eligible during the build phase. It's really one of those things that we have to kind of wait until the end of the build and then do the numbers to see what's actually eligible and what's not. I can tell pretty quickly if an EOT is sent out that doesn't look right. So if we're at, the enclosed stage and they're sending me through an extension of time for the frame, I'll be like, wait a minute. The 10 days is
you
passed.
filter all of them, don't you, buddy? You check
100%.
And how many EOTs have come your way that have never seen it to a client because we go back and dispute it?
There's been a few.
Lots. I know there is, buddy.
Yeah, and we have to check it because we've got, our clients' best interests at heart. We need to go back and make sure that the dates line up. I had one where, the same date was claimed twice. Mm-hmm. So I went back to the builder. I'm like, hey, you've already got an extension of time. Just because one's for this delay and one's for the other delay doesn't mean you can claim the same date twice. So we go to that level of detail just to make sure that what we are receiving is correct. And look, 9 times out of 10, people, like the builders, do put their hand up and go, "Oh, sorry, that was a mistake." And that's the relationship that we've got with the builders. I just go back and I'm like, I don't know if this is a mistake or not. Can you just double check this for me? And I'll come back and be like, no, sorry, it was a problem, or sorry, it was incorrect, or it is correct. Here's the reasoning behind it. And then obviously we send that through to the clients. But yes, EOTs and LDs, bit of a different thing. But we're here to support you through that. And look, trust me, when I first started and all of this stuff, all of these EOTs and LDs and all this different jargon was coming through, even like one of the girls that used to work with us, even she'd never really dealt with it. So we were kind of learning as we go, but now it's just second nature.
I remember about 12 or 15 months ago, Dave, you would as well. I think you guys come to the build support review, you started talking about EOTs. I'm like, what? I said, I know about LDs. I've never heard of an EOT before. Mm-hmm. And yes, now it's the other way around. Now all we hear is EOTs.
Yeah, second nature. I get a couple a day. It's just, it is what it is. And again, as I said before, the builders want to get these houses built. They want to move on to the next project. There is no reason why they would want to delay your specific build for any reason. They want to make money. We're in the business of making money, and they don't make money until the PC claim anyway. If there is any money to be made in today's climate, as your friend said before, the inflation on materials and trades is so high that they're probably not making much anyway, but they want to move on. So
not for contracts that were signed 8, 9, 10 months ago. Fran, who's one of your offsiders, of course. Thanks, Fran. Thanks so much for joining us. Can a builder claim EOTs more than once for the same delay type? Nat?
Depends if it's like weather. If it's like a weather thing, obviously. If it's a material delay, potentially. Mm-hmm. If it's not obviously over the same date. So if they can foresee that there's going to be a delay with the frame, and that was for 3 weeks, but then there's still a delay with the frame, then obviously they can extend it. Yeah. But that would happen very rarely because they have to actually wait for the full extent to be experienced. Yeah. And look, a lot of the times builders will send through a variation. If they can see there's going to be a major delay with, say, a specific tile or with a dishwasher or something that they can actually change, they'll send through a variation. So, and that's happening a lot as well, where they can see that there's a delay with one particular material, so they make a change. So
Jesus, we even had some clients go from timber frame to steel frame back in the day, like about 6 months ago. So very interesting.
And now from brick to Hebel, there's all sorts of crazy things happening in order for the build to progress. So we just got to roll with the times, and if they do send through a variation for a specific material, I always go back to them and say, hey, can you just, give us a website or a link to something that I can show the clients exactly what it is. Like I have one for carpet today. I've gone back to the builder. I'm like, all right, can you send me a link for what the new carpet looks like? Just so I can, give them a bit more information. So it's not just like, you have to change this. I'm saying why and what it looks like. So
if you're the owner of that property, especially if it's not your own, what do you want to do? Stick to your guns and go, no, I'm happy to wait 4 weeks for the original carpet that I chose. Or just choose another fucking color and get the carpet in and get the place finished so you can get some rent return. Like it's a no-brainer. It really, really is.
Yeah, exactly.
And when they do those variations as well. Sorry, mate. When they do those variations as well.
I'll be back in a sec. You hold court for a sec. I'm busting for a piss. I'll be back. Hang on.
Sorry. That's it. We're taking over. This is called the Dave, Nat, and Angie show now.
Send it off the bloody grenade and take off. TMI, mate. But I was just going to say, Nat, as well, when the builders are doing those variations for materials or items that aren't available, they're going to be either the same quality or better.
Upscaled. Yep.
They won't actually revert back to a lower quality item, which is very beneficial for the clients.
And it's obviously a cost to the builder, because they're not able to ask for money. It's at a zero cost. So they're not doing it because they want to. They're doing it because they have to, and they have your best interest at heart, and they want to keep the build progressing. So, and it's good that they can see, outside of just the norm. They could wait for 4 weeks, but why would they want to? If they can take into other options, why wouldn't you want it to progress?
And we're all on the same team. This is the whole thing. Like, we talk about Axon having so much care, and and same with our clients, but from a perspective of my Lukey boy, my husband works for a builder, and even when he wakes up of a morning and if it's raining or if a tradie puts up the prices or whatever it might be, just hearing it from his perspective of how much care he has for the clients as well.
Well, Luke and all of our builders, they have such pride in the builds of the houses that they construct. And if there's issues or delays, they're feeling it for the clients as well. They want to get them done for the clients because some of them own homes that they're moving into as opposed to investment properties. So, they're very proud of the builds. I know that for sure.
How do you feel, Robbie?
Much relieved, thank you, Natalie. Even though that my wife's letting me know I'm now dead, so I'm not looking forward to going out and seeing her. I do apologise about that team. I'm like, how am I going to cover off on this? I've got 20 minutes to go. It ain't going to work. So thank you, Dave.
What how real you are. Actually, speaking of that, my aircon heater is on and I am sweating, and I just didn't want to turn it off while I was on the live. So seeing
mate, do your hardest.
I'm turning my aircon off.
Actually, talking about real, Ange, let's tell the story from last night. I love this. We're talking to Ryan and Lauren over in Perth, and they're talking about having kids in the future, and it's going to happen a little while down the track, et cetera, et cetera. And somehow, we're talking about. As I say to them, I said, my wife hates me talking about this. Jesus, Sean, I'll get to that in a second.
Holy badooly. What the hell?
And I said, look, my wife hates me talking about this, but my job as a property and wealth creation life coach, I want to give you some strategies to maybe consider implementing about how you are going to get to the end of your wealth creation time and have a much better result than what you might have otherwise. And it's all about doing things in a certain sequence. And I'm not a padre and I'm not a family planner. And if you want to go and pump out kids before you start buying houses, go your hardest. I'm just letting you know that it's so much harder from a cost of living and serviceability perspective if you've got a couple of Billy Lids kicking around and then you start to try and buy a few houses, especially if mum's gone back to work part-time, et cetera, et cetera. So we're just talking about the sequence of having kids and everything, weren't we, Ange? And I said, actually, there was a lady that used to work with us, and she had this little famous line. I used to ask her all the time, like, how come you got 3 kids? She goes, I used to like a good back rub, Robbie. So, it's like back rub leads to sort of having kids. So that was a bit of a funny part of it. We finished up the session there, and then one of the other fellas that was on the line with us as well, he goes, look, the team, thanks so much. It was really, really great to meet you. I've got to hang up now. I've got to go give my wife a back rub. And everyone just pissed themselves laughing, like it was the perfect crescendo, Ange, wasn't it, to a cracking coaching session.
Yeah, I was literally in tears. And this is why we have a HR hat in the office, RT.
He's a cheeky boy on a normal day, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't been involved in the conversations, but other people have told me, they're like, what's Robbie like in person? And they're like, same as what you see on the screen. I'm like, can't help it, mate. Can't help it. So there we go. All right. Shawnee Spain, brother, fucking just give me half an hour to read through this. Recently, I had several calls from those who serve, and I haven't read this yet, so I'm going to read it out off the cuff. Hope it's okay, by the way. Recently had several calls from those who served in the Navy. Those are not young guys or girls either. And yes, I told them that call Deb and Axon. Some served around 5 to 11 years. Some didn't even know about their building entitlements. Mm-hmm. I know you, Axon, advertise a lot. However, with several Navy personnel calling me through their doctors, the Navy personnel are missing out that many have no idea about their building entitlements. This is a good post, mate. I have a good reputation with many doctors. I'm happy to help out many veterans as I get calls from soldiers not knowing what to do and how to invest in property. If Axon hasn't reached out to doctors who look after veterans, this is an awesome referral to help all soldiers. That is we're not crying out for more business right now, Sean. We've got lots of people making inquiries for us. but the vision or the mission of this business is to help the defense community secure their financial future using property. So we're not going to stop ever. There's not a number we're never going to reach. When there's never going to be a finish line. Axon will be around long after I'm gone. I'm going to create a legacy and a sort of a takeover program there. Simo, I'd like to say you, but you're an old bastard like me.
I'm almost as old as you, mate.
Someone in the future who's a lot younger will take over Axon one day, Sean, to do exactly this, mate. And we will never stop helping the defense community. But your sage advice there is very much welcome, buddy. I can't wait to Noah. Can you just please make a note on the back channel there to get Daniel, our AV guy, to reach out to Sean and make sure that we get him on a podcast so we can talk about this sooner rather than later.
Speaking of Navy, though, can I just make sure everyone's seen my TikTok? I just actually checked. We're actually up to 399,000 views. So
wow.
as the resident Navy person, if you haven't seen my Get Off the Grass TikTok, please do yourself a
Holy
favor.
Shit, nearly 400,000 views.
Almost 400,000 views, just so everyone knows.
I thought I was fucking famous. No one's ever looked at this 400,000 times. No, it's not the thing.
You're not even on it at all.
Love it. Benny Hinton replying to Sean Spain. I'll be doing some advertising referring when I go to Creswell next month. I might need a new Axon Property Group coffee mug or 10. Noah, absolutely, brother. We'll get that done for you.
Take it on board.
Now here's the thing, team. I just sort of there it is there. I was just reflecting on the call whilst I was relieving myself just quickly. I just want to be crystal clear here that our job is to represent your best interest. We're not here advocating for the builders. We're not here making excuses for the builders. We're not here trying to put steps and measures in place to stop you getting any liquidated damages that you are entitled to. My job as your property strategist is to make sure, in fact, that we can put a plan together so you can squeeze every dollar that you're entitled to from the military and or the government. If you're a civilian, you don't have access to your HPAS and DOHAS. So I just want to be crystal clear with everybody, and I apologize if it's not coming through in that manner, that we're not here advocating for any one or party. We're actually impartial, and as Natalie has quite rightly pointed out, we've got to work with both parties. Like when and don't get me wrong, there are, what do you reckon, Nat, 2 or 3 clients that are pretty shirty with the way that it's gone so far, because when they started their journey with us 18 months ago, we're like, this house is going to be built in 4.5 months. It goes bang, 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 finished, and that's what used to happen. Yep. Next minute, that's not what's happening, and they are rightly so a little bit disappointed. Where does friction come from? Expectations are not being met. I get it, right? So I guess it's really so when they're not happy with the builder, sometimes they take it out on us, you ladies, and I certainly get involved very quickly if I hear someone not being nice on the phone. Fucking Sergeant Robbie comes back out quickly, and that behaviour is somewhat quelled. But yeah, I just, and certainly when there are 2 parties that are not getting on very well, Axon client and builder, where's the worst place to be? In the middle. Where do we live? In the middle. Not very good. So I just sort of put that out there that we're 100%, we're impartial to a point, but we absolutely represent. And as Nat said before, there's many, many, many extensions of times that have never, ever gone to any of our clients because we've stopped it at our end and called bullshit, and you've never seen it. So I just want to make sure that everyone's crystal clear as far as that goes. Let me read out a couple of other things here. Brenton Arthur, mate, good to hear from you. Jumping in a bit late, but how are we all doing? Definitely going to have to go back and watch the episode after such a star team. Mate, thank you so much, buddy. I'll send the postage details. Boom, boom, boom. Zachy Davis, mate, good to see you online as well. I went out to where your property is today, and there's literally excavators and dozers and, stuff happening left, right, and centre. Hey, everybody, good to see you all. Sorry if you guys have already recovered. It's lots of news coverage about collapsing building firms. What do you guys see as a common factor between these guys? Is it just the flavour of the month in the media? There's definitely a flavour of the month in the media. When people say all these building firms, I don't know how many building and construction firms there are in Australia. But what I do know, there's probably been 6 or 7 that have collapsed so far. That would be a 15th of the total amount. That's a technical term for a very small amount of the total amount. So if you keep it in perspective, let's say there's 5,000 building and construction firms. What as a percentage, what is 5 of 5,000? A 15th is the answer. So there's actually not all these building firms that are collapsing. There are 3, 4, 5, or 6 that are running a business model which doesn't have the balls to go back to any clients to say, hey, there's a price rise, you need to contribute. They've got way too many overheads. They have not been smart with their money management, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And everyone's got sort of different ways of running their business right now. There are a couple of key combat indicators, though, Zach, if I can. There you go, Deb. Thank you so much. 12 out of 6,000. Someone tell me what a percentage of 12 of 6,000 is. I think even your calculator will come back to you and say, error, see 15th definition. Probably, right?
0.002%.
Hello, HR. Can you not say 15th anymore? Now, Greg, we've got this saying in the business that don't confuse harassment with excitement. I think you might just be a little bit confused there, mate. So Facebook's trying to add subtitles to 15th. That's funny. Some of the combat indicators that I see, though, is that if a builder is trying, so let's just say they're at the slab stage. And again, Nat, this is where you and your team, supported by Angie, that the filter that we applied doesn't happen. If there is a builder trying to claim the frame and the enclosed whilst they're at slab, that is a very definite combat indicator. You shake your head now, but I'll tell you a story in a second. That is a very, very high combat indicator that there is an element of financial stress with that firm because they're trying to get paid for shit they haven't done yet. When I was working with the other firm, when old mate was on Tinder, as opposed to me writing a bloody business model with him, go back and watch episode 1 of our podcast. We had 14 builds. Dave, you remember this. We had 14 builds that went, there was one builder that went under and we had 14 builds with them. When we went back and analysed what was occurring, unbeknownst to the business process of that firm back in the day, this was in my second year in the industry. I didn't know any different. So that's why we've got a definite process in place now. So Nat, if you want to know the history of how and why we demand photos and we check everything and we make sure that we pass the approval onto the client to say we're happy that the stage has been done. That shit never used to happen before. And we found out that old mate builder that went under was claiming in all these claims. And that's why the clients were left in such a destitute position. Of course, old mate that used to own that firm didn't want to make those phone calls. So guess who made all those phone calls? Crying, yelling, anger, fucking parents bloody threatening, stuff on us about how dare we do that to their families. So that's the main indicator, Zach, to long answer to your short question, that none of our builders right now are even thinking about claiming anything like bringing it forward, and they're happy to sort of carry a few things, either. So, Nat, have you got any other comments on that?
Yeah, definitely. And something that also that we find is happening is that different builders claim different things at different stages. So I had one client call me that she's on her third property with us, but she's got a brand new builder this time, and she received the claim. And she messaged me and she was like, oh, no, it doesn't seem quite right. I think it was tiling hadn't been done at the fixing stage. And I was like, no, this builder doesn't actually claim tiling at the fixing stage. They claim it at practical completion. So every builder that we have is different, but it's our job to go back and check the contract and just make sure that they are filling their obligations at each stage. But something that we're finding as well that's really happening is, there's been massive delays with bricklayers. So a lot of the builders are actually doing a lot of concurrent activity. So a lot of the time we'll find oh, God, the enclosed stage, oh, it's so far behind, massive delays. Get the enclosed, we get the photos, half the inside's done. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's a bit of concurrent activity here because they can't claim enclosed until the actual house has been completed. Bricks being the major delay because they can't do the bricklaying doesn't mean they're not doing concurrent activity into the fixing stage.
Tiling, cabinetry, painting, plastering on the inside.
Yeah, exactly. So all the cabinetry's already installed, all the plasterboard's done, all the sheeting's done, all the electrical's done, and then we get the enclosed claim, and 3 days later we get the fixing claim. So it's it seems like there's been a massive delay leading up to enclosed, and there has been, but you've just jumped into fixing already. So I had a couple of fixing calls with clients, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so far behind. I feel like we've missed a step, but everything happens so quickly at that stage. But yeah, you've really just got to make sure that you're checking everything. Again, we check the EOTs, we check the claims, make sure it's all, all true and correct. So our clients are well and truly informed on what's going on.
Perfect. CJ Wins, does anyone think that Queensland will follow New South Wales with a new stamp duty plan announced last week? Simo, any intel on that?
Haven't heard anything about Queensland taking it on. Queensland tends to lag Victoria, New South Wales, and the ACT a fair bit with regulation like that. They'll probably just see how it goes, and then if it works, they'll jump on it as well.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything. Ange, anything on your end, buddy?
Anything? No.
No. Hags has also gone, what about the rise and fall inclusions in build contracts? I don't really know what you mean there, mate, but I guess we've got, Dave, you can perhaps answer this as far as what our standard spec goes and what we expect to be in every single build contract.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that question is as well. Greg, if you maybe want to clarify a little bit for us, mate. But here at Axon, we have a certain standard that we want our investment properties and your own homes to meet a minimum of. Now, all the different builders will have different specs or different items that they will put in the properties, all at good specification levels, but sometimes certain things aren't in those properties. So we will always add in our, what we call our Axon spec, our 1%ers. For some builders, it might be only 3 or 4 items, things like duct air conditioning, security screens, gas outlets in the alfresco. It's only a very minor thing.
Greg loved that today, Dave.
Oh,
like, look at that. There's a bloody gas outlet out here. They cook a barbie, the AC joint out there as well to bloody plug a fridge in. Bang, massive alfresco. Happy days.
Exactly. It's only a very small cost, but it has a great effect on the property. And we want those properties, investment properties, to be at a standard where someone that's tenanting that property could actually imagine that it's their own home.
Yeah.
We want that with the tenants because when they're there, they feel it like it's their own home. They're going to stay there for the long term. And that's our ultimate goal, is to keep those best tenants in place for as long as we can.
Yeah, we actually said that today. So Greg's just talking about material costs. So, mate, that sort of price per square meter, buddy, that I was talking about, let's call it $12.50 a square meter a year ago, is now $2,000 a square meter. That includes everything in the house. So whether it's the ceiling fans, whether it's the light switches, whether it's the bath, whether it's the bloody sink, whatever, everything across the board. There's obviously some variance. Some have gone up a lot, some have gone up a small amount. So it's, but across the board, when you're sort of looking at things from an overall perspective, that's what it's all about. Natina said tenants also loved it when they seen it when viewing the property. That's all fine. Tia Hopkins has said favourite feature is the gas outlet. 100% Tia. I can't wait to see your amazing house with Josiah that is being built in the northern suburbs of Brisbane, your own home. If it's okay with you, buddy, I'll come up there and we'll do a proper video walkthrough with Daniel, our videographer, and hopefully, Tia, if I recall of some of our very early coaching sessions, you are an absolute firecracker to talk to. And perhaps Josiah's a little quieter. I'd love either or both of you to be on a little video session with me, and we can tell everyone about your amazing house, buddy. So that'd be great.
Robbie, just so you know, we got the fixing claim for those guys today. So
there you go. Well done, Nat. Perfect. And I think, Nat, some of the things you were just talking about is what Jen Gaylor's now asked. So bear with me for a sec, team. Question from Steve. Steve, I hope you're doing well, brother. I've had some workmates have issues with banks when the builder has completed some stages slightly out of expected order. So Nat, be on standby. You have the experience as well. In the area of some internal work being done before complete enclosure was done due to tradesperson availability. We just covered off on that. From what the discussions were, the bank was giving them substantial grief with not paying, which then meant the builder pulls up stumps. Fuck, that's a bit harsh, but we'll come off that in a second. Is this situation common at the moment, and how to work around it? Hopefully that makes some degree of sense. So I guess my immediate comment there is, Nat, you've already explained, in the name of concurrent activity, it's smart that the builder doesn't wait for the last fucking brick to go into the walls before they start doing the insides. Right. But it's very clear, I suppose, that the builder is claiming a certain thing and not mixing and matching. You got any comment on that?
Steve, I've never had an issue with it. I can tell you now that 90% of our enclosed claims that are coming through have got fixing works to a degree. I will state, though, depending on the photos, so if you're then sending photos to the lender of a stage that it shouldn't be at, that's when it can get a bit funny. So I would say don't send the photos through to the lender, because you've got to remember the processing teams at banks aren't necessarily high banking individuals. They are just processing people. So sometimes too much information or too much detail can actually kind of put you in trouble as well. But no, I've never, ever, ever had a lender come back saying we're not going to process enclosed because you've moved into fixing. Sorry, before you jump in, Dave, that's another reason why you work with someone like Deb, because Deb's got those relationships with the BDMs at the banks that she's put you in touch with. So when something does happen that I can't necessarily speak on your behalf, she can. And we've got that relationship that I send emails through to Deb all the time, like, hey, go and speak to whoever, whatever bank, because they're giving us a bit of grief. So another reason to use an amazing broker that's got those relationships as well.
Yeah. I think in that instance, Nat, what may be happening is the builder is working forward, not completing that stage, still having stuff outstanding from that stage and trying to claim it then. That will definitely get them knocked back.
Yeah, but I've never seen it.
No,
never.
well, our builders do stuff ahead, finish the stage and then claim it.
Yeah, 100%. And Benny Hint is just asking quickly, does the inside enclosed degrade the fixtures inside and then tomorrow's already applied? That nothing is ever compromised from a weather protection and sort of integrity perspective there, mate. Tammy and I are doing the same thing right now. We're waiting for our sheeting to happen, but there's still some stuff on the roof that needs to be done. It's a highly synchronized thing. And if there is one little bit there that doesn't sort of make sense, it'll be knocked back. Last question, just quickly. I can't believe how fast this hour's gone. Amazing work team. Aaron Ryder, brother, great to see you. I did get you a couple of very nice bottles of wine, as promised, brother, down in the Hunter Valley recently. With the shortage of materials increasing prices, is there an expectation of a market correction once the blip of materials and new global suppliers are established? Dave, you and I have been talking to the majority of builders about this recently, haven't we? And what's the same answer we've been getting back from everyone is, once there's a new benchmark set, it ain't coming back down. If it costs $380,000 now to build a house and there's lots of supply coming around, guess what? All the profit the builders have lost over the years, they're just going to make it back if things are a little bit cheaper. So don't expect a buddy, it'll never cost $260,000 to build a house again, ever. Ever. Once that benchmark has been established, brother, they ain't coming back down. Dave, any comment on that?
No, I agree. There may be some small amount of bleed back down with costs a little bit, especially if if the demand isn't there and they're trying to entice people through. You might see a little bit there, but yeah, nothing significant from the levels that they're at now.
Yep. All right, last little couple. Thanks, Aaron. Jen Gailey, it does make sense to me with regards to completing things were practical and definitely struck me as odd. Potentially an issue with exactly what was being claimed. To be honest, I didn't dig super deep as neither of these guys were particularly happy at the time. Just stoked to be under the Axon umbrella and not having that concern. Last thing, thank you, Hags. Just want to give a massive shout out. Oh, fuck, I can't read this one out. Ange, can you please read Greg's one out for me?
Glasses on.
Oh, sorry, look out.
Just want to give a massive shout out to RT, the build support team, and everyone at Axon for guiding us through the journey to get to where we are now. We're just blessed to have had this opportunity, and we cannot recommend highly enough how awesome they've been for us. And I have been discharged 30 years, so it is never. Oh, hang on, I've lost my spot.
Yeah, never
too late. Thank you. Oh, what a legend.
Yeah, what a legend. I can't wait to see it. Thanks very much, everybody. What a fantastic session. Thank you to Noah in the background. Tammy's listening in as well, and the rest of the Axon crew. Fran, for all of your inputs also. Thanks so much. See you guys in another fortnight. I'll leave you with this last little bit. There's still a couple of amazing Axon team members that we're training up in the background that haven't been released to the public yet. Watch this space. See you later, everyone. Have a fantastic night. We'll capture that comment and come back to you, mate. See you later, everyone. Have a great night.
Good night.